Hello, hello, hello. This is Andy Orts, Falco Canine Academy, and I'm going to catch up on a little bit of bed bug detection dog training with Flash and Ollie. Over the last, I'm trying to remember the last time I broadcast about their training, but there are these steps that take place where you are reducing the toy to enhance the odor presence so that that imprintation now begins to focus more on the bed bug odor in the tennis ball. And over that process, there's so many things going on and so many things that have to take place beforehand. I mean, it's not like brain surgery, don't get me wrong, but it's just the activity of making sure which part of the ball you're using and stuff. Anyway, it's been hard to set up the Facebook Live. I could tell you there's been like 3 or 4 times that I got done with a fantastic scenario where something would happen. I go, oh, I completely forgot. I even had my camera set up a couple times, or not my camera, my phone set up a couple times, where something happened that I thought you guys would have loved. And of course, I had never pushed the go live button. It's you're worrying about the dog getting in and out. One of the dogs comes out and the other dog's trying to get out at the same time. You're getting the leash on. Sometimes you miss the collar and the dog, runs out and begins doing the search before you're ready. And then you forget to push the button. So those are all of my excuses. But what I've done is that I put together a little bit of a program here that will take you through the process, and I think actually even be better. And so this process of reducing the toy and then enhancing the presence of the odor to make that imprint of that odor even more significant to the dog is a necessary one. I think that sometimes us trainers sometimes get in a hurry and we skip through and that kind of stuff. And again, as you've seen in some of the other videos, there's in some cases, I think some trainers that I know are watching this because I've seen them on here will say, that maybe my steps are too incremental, or that I'm, and they do things maybe differently, and that's fine. There's more than probably 5 or 6 different ways that I know of to imprint odor on a dog. And again, this is just one of them because of the bed bug bile. In other words, the housing of the odor that I'm trying to imprint limits the different kinds of techniques that can be used to imprint an odor down to the one that I'm using now. And there's others, right, that you can actually do. But when you're trying to keep the bed bugs alive, because it's an investment, it's about $50 per vial. And then shipping and all that other kind of stuff, and then waiting for them to get here, that you don't want the bed bugs to die too soon unless you're feeding them. The more that you rattle those bed bugs around, the more that they move and are active, the faster they burn through the food that they have on board. In other words, the blood, they go through the calories and they have to use more of it, and then they die faster. So the activity of doing that and then storing them after you're done with training, all that kind of stuff, there's a lot. Again, I'm trying to act like this is some hard chore and job, which I think many trainers want you to think. But it is a process, and it is time that you just don't want to waste. Enough of that. Let me go to my my other app here called Mimo Live. I'm going to get rid of my lower third there. I'm going to go to Mimo Live. I'm going to share with you kind of what it looks like in the cinder block. And so this is what it looks like when we get started. You see, there's the 2 vials. I had to go to a big vial because one of the dangers of using these cinder blocks, and this has really only happened to me this one time. One of the dangers of using the cinder blocks is the dogs paw at them. I'm motioning and you can't even see me right now. Paw at them and lift up a little bit of the cinder block, and then if a vial rolls underneath it and that cinder block comes back down, it breaks the vial. So there used to be 4 vials. The block came down on 3 vials and broke them simultaneously. And quickly, I'm gathering up the bugs and I'm counting them as I'm putting them into that other bigger vial. And so that's why you see a big vial and a little vial. There were 4 small vials, except for 3 of them got broken in the process. So this is where we start, right? We got the tennis ball inside that cinder block, so that the toy actually probably is a higher presence of odor as compared to those little tiny bed bugs that are in there, right? So you have to, I believe, now other trainers may disagree, I believe that you almost have to begin to take the ball out of it, so that when you get to the phase where you're teaching the dog to ignore tennis balls in the environment, it makes it a little bit easier, because now you're putting more focus as you reduce the size. So going back to my slide here, is that the next thing to do is to cut that ball in half. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Hold up. Here we go. All right. So you're going to cut that ball in half. And so there you see that's half of a tennis ball. You run a couple of exercises, and this is happening over a series of days. Or, in the morning you do the whole ball, and then later on in the afternoon you do the half of a ball, and cut that in half. And then eventually you cut that in half. So now you have a quarter of a tennis ball, and then you cut that quarter in half, and now you have half of a quarter, whatever that is. I don't know. I'm not a mathematician. That's why I train dogs. And then you eventually cut that down to a little tiny piece until you're left with just the vials. All right. So the stage that you're going to see the video on, we've now to a point where I don't have the piece of tennis ball there anymore. But you see what I'm talking about? How we've reduced the size of the ball. We keep it in there because it really is still the one thing probably the dog initially gets attracted to. And then as the dog sniffs, he's also smelling a stronger presence of bed bugs as each one of these phases go through. So again, this has been happening over about 4 days, I would guess, somewhere around there, because you have those moments where the dog goes to that block and leaves it and goes, where's that tennis ball that I smelled earlier? And so because the dog wants to smell this, as opposed to, what is he smelling when he's only smelling like a piece. So you have a moment where the dog kind of, is trying to get used to what it is that he's smelling, that smaller presence of the tennis ball. How you cut that tennis ball, you know what? I was going to show a video of me cutting it, and I'm going to leave that up to you, because I don't want necessarily for somebody that doesn't have coordination to use whatever system I use to cut off a finger and say, well, I watched this training video and I did exactly what he told me to do, and I'm missing a finger, like my woodshop teacher. I think his name was Mr. Wood, now that you think about it. And now that I think about it, at Neff High School, he had half a finger. Anybody that's watching this that went to Neff High School in the 70s knows that there was a woodshop teacher, the stereotypical woodshop teacher who was missing fingers. So you figure out how you're going to do it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. Just figure out if this is the system you're going to use. Again, there's other ways of training this for a dog, but you have to cut that tennis ball down and begin reducing the size of the tennis ball. And don't skip any steps. It's easy to go from half a ball to that little tiny piece. It's just so much easier. Trust me, even in a dog that's catching on very quickly, it's hard not to speed things up, but it's better to stay on course, even when those dogs are doing well. Now, do you remember I was talking about how Ollie was behind Flash because we had to work a little bit on leash issues and make sure that we made that stronger, the ability to work on a leash. And then Flash went on to the next stage as well. I was still just working with Ollie with the leash issues. And I said, don't worry, at some point there's going to be a time where Ollie will excel and then Flash will kind of struggle. Well, here it was. When I began to change the presence of the ball, he was still using his eyes, right, to look inside and visually see the tennis ball. Here, I bought the tennis ball. I can see my video is lagging here. Hopefully it's not lagging too bad for you on the on the screen. Yikes. I just saw that it was lagging. Wow, I'm way behind. So hopefully, if somebody can message and let me know where the video, if I need to start and redo this, that I will have to do that. But so the dog was looking for the big tennis ball, especially when we got down to the small little piece of tennis ball, and was leaving it quicker than what I wanted. It happens where a dog will stick his nose in there and he's using his eyes as opposed to his nose, and then Ollie made a fast catch up to that in that phase. So now they're about equal. For the most part, and I think Ollie actually caught on a little bit faster on this. There's nothing to say about the dogs. It's just where those dogs are in what it is that's going on in their head, trying to figure out the silly game that's being taught. So I took this video a few days ago. I don't even know what today is. It was probably like on Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember when I took this video, but I'm going to show you a video. And again, I apologize for the lagging of the video. Hopefully it's not as bad as it looks. It may be my Mimo Live, which is the broadcasting software that I'm using. Hopefully it's not that bad. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and got to find the video first. There it is. All right, so I'm going to start this video, and I'm going to kind of narrate through it to kind of help you understand what's happening here. So here are the cinder blocks. This is the best angle I could come up with. I'm going to zoom in on occasion, and then I'm going to slow-mo and then freeze frame. So here's the dog. There is the cinder block that has the vials in it. It's right there in the middle. You see the dog recognizes, and we're using, here, I'm going to stop it and start it again. We're using, because I was going to mention it, where is it? inside that block is a piece about half the size of this one. I had actually cut this piece in half because we took, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, right? 5 reductions of the toy. And in this video, it's still in the block, I think, or near the block, because I remember I had removed it and just went to the vials. It's half this size. So it's just a piece. All right. So that's what's in there. I meant to tell you that before we got started. So you can see as Ollie, this is Ollie. Ollie comes down, he skips the first one. Again, it's not really necessarily about the searching pattern yet, as it is about recognizing. You see him stick his paw in there, he immediately recognizes that's the right one, right? Again, there's a little portion in there, he's pawing at it. I'm telling him sit. I've moved into the to the sit phase. You know what? Let me stop it one more time because this is really important. Also, now remember we were training the sit. Now I'm adding the sit behavior. It is slow, right? So I want you to understand what's happening here. The dog is recognizing that block as being the one. I did not require the sit behavior as I was reducing the ball, but when I started getting to the small pieces, now I'm beginning to add the sit behavior. Verbal command for sit, not physical, verbal command for sit in conjunction with the dog recognizing that that is the correct block. Now I'm telling the dog to sit, and now you're seeing this delay. That delay will speed up, all right? And so I want you to understand that too. Really important fact, so that when you're watching this, you understand what's happening in this video, right? He's recognizing that that's the right block based on a little tiny piece of tennis ball and the bed bug odor. Remember, now that's starting to be significant to the dog. And now I'm telling the dog to sit. How you're seeing it from the last video you saw right now is that I've skipped through, but I haven't. This is a series of training that you haven't seen yet, and now we're at the phase where I'm now beginning to give him the command to sit. All right, now I frame that finally in a way that it'll all make sense now. All right, so as we're coming down, we got the dog. I'm pointing out, hey, I want you to focus a little bit on these things here. The dog recognizes the order. You see that paw coming up. You see his tail begin to wag because he knows something's coming. Again, remember the dog does not quite know this game yet. I'm telling him to sit. He's I don't understand, and then the dog goes sit, and then I let the ball go, and it lands right on the cinder block that is the correct one, and the dog gives me the behavior that I'm looking for. All right, I'm going to come down now to change the search for the dog. I'm going to come down from the opposite direction. So as I'm coming down the opposite direction, essentially, yes. So I was thinking maybe I didn't. So I come down now. It's a different search kind of in the dog's eyes, and now I'm zooming in here. Now watch what's happening here. This is really important. Do you see that tongue come out? Watch, I'm going to slow it down and I'm going to zoom in. Watch the tongue come out. That is significant for me as a trainer. That's me knowing the dog is recognizing the odor. He didn't do that. He doesn't do it on all the blocks. He does it on a couple just to see if he tastes the odor that he's beginning to train. That licking of his lips is important. It's the dog processing using all of the systems he used for his olfactory system, which is his nose combined with taste, tasting the odor, right? Tasting the odor is significant. There he licked his lips again, and now I drop it as recognition. Really, really important for me to see that. There's some trainers that don't know that. They don't know that that tongue comes out on the odor when he finds it. Many trainers don't know that. I've discovered it over slowing down the video, lots of videos years ago, and seeing that consistently, no matter what dog I'm training, their tongue comes out when they're confirming they're at the right odor. Now this is Flash. Flash recognizes the odor, and then see how he changes his behavior. He goes into a little jump back, little like now the dog is confused. Again, you see the difference of where each dog is in their phase, right? He does recognize that is the right one. His tail's wagging, and I tell the dog to sit, and he sits. All right, so my timing on that one was, I wanted it to be better because there's a lag between the time the dog sticks his nose in there and he gives the sit behavior. Now, this is a very interesting time because the dog, you as a trainer, you're not 100% sure if the dog realizes getting rewarded for recognizing the odor, or is he getting rewarded for sitting, or is he getting rewarded for recognizing the odor and then sitting and getting the tennis ball? This is the time where it's kind of all coming together. And I think that there's different things the dog is processing at this time that sometimes it thinks, well, I just got rewarded for sitting. I just got rewarded for recognizing the odor. And see how there's a long delay there. See that long delay? He licked his lips and tasting it. I felt comfortable rewarding him because I think there was enough going on that the dog was processing or thinking. And so what I wanted to do is try it one more time. I think there's there's 46 seconds left in this video. So I thought, well, let's do it one more time. And this time I'm really going to make sure the dog is recognizing the odor. I'm zooming in here and I see the dog recognizes that that's the right block. The reason I'm putting my foot on it because he likes to tilt him over. And so he sits. See that the delay was huge. And now I want to make sure that his nose gets in there, and I want the recognition of smelling. You're going to see him lick his lips, and then I'm going to reward once his butt hits the ground again. Right there, you may be thinking that his nose, there it is. He sits and tastes and reward. That was all in slow motion. So it seemed like it was farther apart than it actually was, but I had put that all in slow motion for you to see much, much better. So you can see each dog is slightly different. You can see each dog is at a different phase of training. And this is what we've been working on for the last few days that you have not been able to see what has been going on. I'm going to go back to my Be Live and see if there's any questions. I see that there's people watching. If you have any questions, make sure that you're on the Falco Canine Academy Facebook page. So if you're watching this on another Facebook page that I'm broadcasting to, click at the top and come to the Falco Canine Academy Facebook page. If you have a comment or question or say I'm full of crap or whatever it is, whatever you want to say, feel comfortable in doing that. So that's where we are. Today, my plan is to go to a building and begin the process. We did one search inside of my house, which went really well. There was really no difference here in the house. So I'm going to load the dogs up. It's really hot today. So it depends if I get the facility that's close that we can do some training at. I'm going to load the dogs up in the crates. We're going to go take a trip down to the facility really fast and do some quick training in there. I'm going to try. The reason I laugh is because I've set my camera up twice to do a Facebook Live, and both times I never hit the live button and just did training and completely, I just didn't remember that I had it set up. And so I'm going to remember to hit the live button and go live. Just waiting for a little bit to see if there's any comments from anybody that has any questions, concerns, wants to give me their opinion on what it is they're seeing. This period of time, there's timing is important. Trying to understand what it is you're rewarding for is important. If you make a mistake, and you've seen probably, if your trainer seen me make a mistake, maybe I'm a little bit too slow on a reward, or what have you. There's these things. The fewer mistakes you can make, because you're going to make mistakes because sometimes the ball gets caught in your armpit, and you think that it's going to come out, and because it's wet, it's kind of stuck there. Or if you go to reach for it, as you reach for it whether you're holding a holster for your ball, or it's in a pocket, it'll come out and it'll slip out and go flying off somewhere. These are things that slow you down. It doesn't mean that you broke your dog. It doesn't mean that you've ruined the process of training a detection dog. It is just one of those things that happen that you got to rebound from and then come back and make sure you're rewarding for exactly, as close to exactly, the thing that you want the dog to understand that he's supposed to be doing. The understanding that we're building here is the dog is supposed to be finding the odor, using his nose to find the trained odor, which is the live bed bug odor. And when the dog finds that, he is then to perform, or he's supposed to go to as close to source as possible. Eventually, it's hard not to go to source with these cinder blocks. Again, you're building that in, that his nose goes in, smells it, he licks his lips. And then he sits and all the recognition is happening. That all process happened. He then understands, based on that information being confirmed, that he's at the right block with the trained odor, or the odor that we want to be trained. The dog then, the triggering system for that behavior of sitting is triggered. The dog performs it and then is rewarded. So you want that to begin to all come together. Right now, it's a little far apart. The dog's going, here we are with these stupid blocks again. There's those things in there. I kind of smell something besides the tennis ball. I smell something else. So for some reason, he likes it, because every time I smell that and I do this, or I wag my tail a little bit faster, all of a sudden this ball appears. I'm not quite sure how that all works, but I'll just keep doing it. Right? The dog sticks his nose in there. He paws at it. He wiggles his tail a little bit, and then he goes, "Oh shoot! Look at what happened." But that ball keeps getting smaller. But the odor of the other thing, and so you can see, if you really kind of analyze it, again, is it a process the dog is actually thinking like we're thinking? Probably not, but you can imagine dogs going, this game keeps changing. The only thing that seems to stay consistent is that one odor. That's consistent. That's always present. And when I smell that ball will magically appear. But now, it used to appear when I smelt it. Now I have to do this other thing. He begins to tell me, sit, I'm getting my butt down. And now after I smell that odor, I have to do this. I have to sit down on my butt, and now the ball begins to connect. What you eventually want is that the odor recognition happens fast, right? It triggers like a switch. It triggers, now sit, right? It becomes a very quick series of events that is now brought to one, in a sense. right? Searching for the odor, recognition, and it triggers the sit. It becomes kind of symbiotic, right? Just like we're creating that the odor of the bed bug is symbiotic with the reward in the dog's brain, that odor means that I'm going to get my reward. And if I just perform this behavior, I get that thing, right? And so you want to bring all those things very, very close together. If they're far apart, you get a bunch of him and han, you get a dog going to odor, standing there, and then continuing to search and then coming back, right? What our job is to make that all one package so that you get less of the dog going to odor, not being able to find the source and then moving on. You want the dog to find that odor and then stay there to try to find the source, because he wants that trigger to be flipped, right? He wants that switch to be flipped over. And so by keeping them close together and creating a package, a strong, firm package of that thing, those events, those behaviors, that thing that we're trying to create, by keeping them close together, it becomes more of a natural, just sudden, like it all comes together. Like bam, kind of like an explosion from an explosive that's been created. That you got the trigger, you got the flame, or you got the electrical spark, and then you get the explosion. It's a series of events, but it really is just one thing. It's like I want a bomb to go off, bam, right? But it's a bunch of things that are lined up that have to happen in order for the explosion to occur. Right. And that's kind of what we're doing with the dog. I hope I didn't go too far on that. Sometimes I go on tangents about something while I was waiting here. All right. Well, I guess nobody has any questions. I must have done a beautiful job of explaining exactly what is happening here. Again, this is Andy over at Falco Canine Academy. We have some great trainers, pet dog trainers that are, that are available for you. If you have a pet dog that's causing you some grief, or you just want to make your good dog even better, you want to make sure and visit Falco Canine Academy's webpage and get in contact with us so that you can schedule a time to meet with our trainers, Gina and Derek, and become part of that training course. We also have online training courses. Again, go to Falco Canine Academy. You look for the button that says training courses. Click on that, and you'll see a series of training courses. I got training courses on how to feed your dog raw and natural, to going to a dog park. I got German Shepherd, a specific training for rescue German Shepherds. And then, of course, we have our 7-week training program that is a series of videos that will get you to having a loving and respectful relationship with your dog. All right. So feel free to click on that and you go. Let's see if I can do this really quick. I could actually, now that I have a new program here, I could have had this already in there and I wouldn't have to type it in on the fly. It's in there now. So FalcoCanineAcademy.com. So go to that and you will find it there. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put it in the comments too. Let's go ahead and put it there. And that way you can just click on it. Yeah, that would have been smart. And I do normally have a report that you can get, but I'm doing something fun that you're going to like that will work for you. All right, just make sure I type that correctly. So it's in the comment section, or will be there shortly as it pops up. All right. Hope this was helpful to you. If there's any, again, if there's any concerns, any questions, just go ahead and contact us. 714-990-9010, 714-990-9. Here we go. 714. Like I'm doing this on the fly. You guys just probably really enjoy me typing. There we go, 714-990-9010. And you're going to go ahead and call that number and get connected. I should have, I got another number that I got to find and have it handy. I don't know it by heart. And that will get you directly connected with our pet dog trainers. Right now, that number goes to our main office, and then Carlene will get you connected with our pet dog trainers. But I'm going to work all that out and have it all handy now that the program has changed. If you can see, I can do things a little bit more readily here from the BeLive app, which is fantastic. It's fantastic. I just noticed I have 2 logos up there. I can actually get rid of one of those logos. All right. Hope that was helpful. Again, I've just been kind of stalling, waiting to see if there was anybody who was going to pop on with any questions or concerns. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that one logo because I already have one up there. That's a watermark now that is actually in the BeLive. If you want to know any more about the stuff that I'm doing, just get hold of me separately from all this. And let's see what happens. Yeah, if I get rid of that, that even looks better. All right, that is it. Just do a little experimentation on your time. All right, hope you guys are doing well, and whoever is watching, because I can see people are watching. I hope you don't. And I did see a couple people drop off when I went into my little tangent there. But if you are sticking with me, thank you for sticking with me through all my tangents and my experimentation with the new platform, the new program. They just added a whole bunch of tools that I'm having fun playing with. All right, hope you enjoyed the video and the pictures, and hope that explains everything that we're doing. Let me know if there's anything we can do. All right, that's Andy over at Falco Canine Academy, and I again thank you. Make sure and like and share. Also, forgot that part. Like and share, subscribe. That way you know we're going live. Share it with anybody that has a dog. They may find some of the stuff interesting. I know we're purely talking about detection dog stuff, but you know, we end up talking about some dog behavior and that kind of stuff. So make sure and share and like and subscribe. That would be awesome. All right, that's it. I'm done now for sure. Talk to you later. Bye.